Story 1, boob size, especially small. Lots of men like small breasts. Lots of men just like the human, and breast size doesn't matter. I am one of those men. Story 2. These replies are both making me feel better and at the same time making me feel lied to. It's crazy to see so many men claim to find certain things attractive or not a big deal when it comes to appearance when you've been heavily criticized for all these things ever since elementary school. It's good to know there are guys who don't mind. Story 3. Gray hair, wrinkles, stretch marks, breast or butt size. At the end of the day, just be a good person. Looks fade. Who you are on the inside is more important. Story 4. The level of Thanksgiving they can do. I see women freak out because their turkey is weird or whatever. Yo, calm down. Your family can eat Kentucky Fried Chicken and still love you. Story 5. Getting older. Women somehow manage to become more attractive as they get older. Maybe it's because I'm getting older too, and my body is transitioning faster into what feels like a walking trash heap. Meanwhile, all the women I know are somehow aging in ways that are wonderfully breathtaking, and the contrast is just, I can't even be mad. Gray hair. Once your hair starts going gray, don't dye it. Let those gray highlights come in. Please. We love it. Basically, anything you worry about, don't. Once a guy has decided that he wants to see you unclothed, he has a pretty good idea of what he's going to see. And no matter what he sees, he's almost definitely going to love it unless he's unappreciative, because you're a woman and you're going to be unclothed, and it's incredible that we get to have this intimate experience with you. You don't think your nipples are perfect? Don't worry about that. Embrace it. Yes, indeed. It's time for intimacy. Story 6. Everything regarding their body. No makeup? Body hair? Pimples? Cellulite? Couldn't care less. The only things I can't stand are insufficient hygiene and bad teeth. So please shower once in a while and brush your teeth at least twice a day. Story 7. As a Generation X woman reading this, I feel like my whole life is a lie. I also want to scoop up my 20s and 30s selves, hug them tight, and tell them that they have nothing to worry about. They are already beautiful in every way. Thanks, everyone. I wish I had known all of you years ago. Story 8. Their bodies. We have all these standards to live up to that are so unrealistic and way too hard to keep up with. I know I'm not a man, but coming from a woman, those are my thoughts. Story 9. In general, I don't think women fully grasp how men see the people they are attracted to. We tend to look for the things we like and focus on those. If we see you from an unflattering angle or in bad lighting that highlights some imperfection that objectively makes you look unattractive, we don't focus on that and count it against you. We just won't remember it. But that time you had that beautiful perfect hair and the light cast that glow in your eyes just right, that mental image will stick with us forever. The unflattering moments don't make us think about how imperfect you are. It's just not interesting to us. I think most men actively look for the aspects of you that we find beautiful and kind of ignore the rest. I think a lot of women look at themselves and each other with the opposite approach. They don't look for and focus on their good qualities. They look for the imperfections as some sort of purity test, and then assume that because they do so, men must be doing the same thing. Obviously, some men really are also that judgmental, but generally, I think women are their own harshest critics when it comes to beauty. Most straight men are obsessed with you and actively want to ignore whatever faults you are insecure about. Story 10. Telling a man they are on their period. I grew up in a house full of women. I am desensitized to it. I am not like most men who get grossed out just from hearing the word period. It is part of life, whether you want to hear about it or not. They do not like going through it way more than you do not like hearing about it. Story 11. The way you look without makeup. The size of their breasts. The size of their buttocks. The size of their lips. Whether you have curves or not. How much meat your genitals have. How weird you think you are. Your laughter. How loud or soft you moan. And so many more things. At the end of the day, most people do have a preference for these things, but also at the end of the day, they care about you, the person, more than anything else. Story 12. Some stretch marks or being 5 to 10 pounds over some ideal weight. We probably will not even notice. In most cases, the insecurity is worse than the things they are insecure about. I would rather be with an average girl who is comfortable in her skin than a hot girl who is constantly complaining about some seemingly insignificant detail and needs constant reassurance and validation. Story 13. Their looks. I can only speak from my own perspective as a straight man, but I generally think most women I see are attractive in their own way. I'm surprised at how many good-looking women I've met have some sort of self-image issue and seem to nitpick things about their appearance that I never noticed or think should cause insecurity. Like stretch marks, something that really doesn't bother me and most men I've encountered. Yet, I see quite a few women asking men if they find it an issue. Just yesterday, a woman I work with was worrying about her hair being messy and asked me if it looked bad. I told her the truth and said, "No, your hair looks completely fine to me." I understand women constantly face unrealistic beauty standards pushed by society and the media. It's sad, especially since some women turn to self-harm, eating disorders, and even suicide because of it. It's very sad, especially when you know women have more value they can add to the world than just their looks. Story 14. Being the smartest person in the room. Wearing the same thing as your friend. The amount you eat on a date. Asking their partner to do more around the house. Story 15. Not having a completely flat stomach. The little bump women have is attractive both because of their life-creating nature and in and of itself. Love that. Story 16. A lot of things were mentioned, so a few more. Fat sides, also known as love handles, are actually adorable. Manicure or lack of it, just trim nails are fine. Virginity or lack of it. There are some very vocal dudes who are obsessed with it. Ignore them, this kind of obsession is probably a red flag. If a guy doesn't want to be with you because he is jealous of your past, you dodged a bullet. Story 17. My wife is between jobs right now. She has mentioned feeling like a skill-less loser when looking at these job postings. I told her to just apply for them anyway, even if she doesn't meet every single bullet point. Most of the time, the human resources person who made the posting doesn't even know what the job requires anyway. I understand that women often don't apply for jobs if they feel less qualified compared to men, but I think women should definitely try more often, especially in today's job market. Story 18. Hip dips. I quite literally never even noticed that before until someone told me she was self-conscious about them. It is literally a result of how your skeleton is shaped, and it means absolutely nothing. Story 19. I just saw a TikTok of a woman sharing how we can get rid of lines on our neck. As a woman, seriously, what the heck? Can we just exist? Out of all the crazy insecurities out there, this is the craziest I've heard. It's on par with hip dips. Story 20. Breast size and stretch marks. I personally don't care about those whatsoever. Whatever natural characteristics a woman has, that is what makes them special. Story 21. True enough. Men are simple creatures. I admire you guys. I am female here and have been hitting the gym to make myself feel good and confident. Reading your perspectives for like 10 minutes made my day. Story 22. Women should not feel insecure about their appearance, their intelligence, their worth, their choices, their emotions, or their ambitions. It's important to embrace and celebrate all aspects of oneself. Story 23. Their clothes. Seriously, it's not a big deal for women to wear loose-fitting clothing. They are way more comfortable without clothing choking them out. Story 24. I have noticed a really interesting tendency that women often seem to be insecure about things they absolutely should not worry about while simultaneously attempting to turn things that maybe they should work on into badges of honor. Story 25. As long as they are a good, decent person, they should be proud of who they are as they are. I do not expect them to fit any preconceived mold. It almost saddens me sometimes when women get insecure about themselves. You are completely fine as you are. Story 26. Pretty much the shape and color of their body parts. There isn't an abstract remote standard of what a woman's body is supposed to look like. Your body is part of the standard of what a woman's body is supposed to look like. Story 27. Being naked in front of a guy after he has made clear that he enjoys seeing you naked. I get it, that first time being naked in front of someone is scary. You are in a very vulnerable position, and nobody wants to be received negatively. It makes sense to feel a little insecure. That said, After a guy has made clear through his words and actions that seeing you naked is awesome, there is absolutely no reason to feel insecure from that point forward. And yet many women still hang on to their insecurities. Story 28. A lot of guys are saying no makeup, but there needs to be an explanation. It's not just that you're gorgeous without it. It's that you feel safe being your true self with us when without makeup. At least for me, it's the vulnerability that you just don't care and need to get things done, so this is your real you and we love it. Story 29. At some point, women are going to have to come to grips with the reality that they are designing their whole lives around the opinions of other women and some immature people. Story 30. Looking your age as you get older and getting work done. There's nothing worse than an older woman desperately trying to look like she's 20-something when it's obvious that she is not. There's nothing wrong with aging gracefully. That said, wear sunblock and do your best not to look older than you are, either. Story 31. My boyfriend told me today that he doesn't care that I don't have colored polish on my toes. I was working and didn't get them done. I was so self-conscious about it. I told him when I saw him, I'm sorry for not having my toes painted. He couldn't care less about my toenail polish. I was so relieved. Story 32. This is a delightfully interesting thread. I'm feeling better about my body with every response. But I know I got these ideas about guys' preferences somewhere. Media is full of corporate ideas of beauty. I wonder if Reddit responders are a particular subgroup who care less about breast size, scars, makeup, thigh gap, and hip dip. The good guys? Because somebody has been selling women a load of nonsense. Maybe it's just the shallow or immature guys who are stuck on particular feminine aspects. Is this about guys' personality or just having greater acceptance of the wide variety of gorgeous feminine presentations? Surely there's a thesis on this somewhere. Story 33. How they look in reference to other women. As a woman, you have the luxury of always being found attractive by some guy. Even if you're overweight, someone will find you attractive, laughing. Quit comparing yourself to other women and be the best version of yourself you can be. You don't need lip fillers or Botox or a breast job. Natural is best. Story 34. Stretch marks. Inner thigh color. Vagina color or clitoris size or lip size. Breast sag. Height. Bra indentation. Makeup. Nipple size. Eyelashes. Lip size or shape. Skin color or discoloration. I think that's it. Story 35. Everything. They're all humans, they'll all make mistakes. But they're all perfect just the same. Wish that could be my answer, but sadly there are a lot of things women especially should feel insecure over, dangerous guys being a major one. Or maybe I'm reading too much into this. Go with my first paragraph, but make sure you all are staying safe too. You are important. Story 36. Appearance in general, but even more so where $80 appointments are concerned. I've probably dated 100 women and couldn't match a name to nails, feet, or extensions if you put a gun to my head and showed me slides with multiple choice options. As to the rest of appearance, a 6 is above average, and not 60% as in failing. I'd rather learn to appreciate a conventionally unattractive woman than deal with an angry, insecure, or bitter one. Story 37. Irregular facial features, such as more pronounced noses, widow's peaks, and bigger foreheads, and lack of makeup. As a 24-year-old guy who's in shape and mostly has his life together, I would take an average-looking woman with no makeup and a longer nose over an 8 out of 10 woman who has layers of makeup. Love your imperfections, ladies. I and many other guys appreciate and adore such unique traits that most of you feel insecure about. Story 38. Wearing the same clothes many times. We don't really care and would probably hardly even notice it, and women should empathize rather than criticize one another. Story 39. Stretch marks, glasses, non-salon hair, weight gain, normal nails, absence of makeup, lack of experience, tummy, income, occupation that isn't OnlyFans or similar. Story 40. Being safe around men. I've heard too many women say they don't know whether or not they're around a safe man at first impression. That's completely irrational. We should hold ourselves and our brothers to a higher standard. Story 41. Feeling crazy for overthinking. Guys overthink some things too. We just have to find a way to explain it to each other without both of us having full-on meltdowns. Story 42. Anything and everything you read in Cosmopolitan. Best advice: stop reading it. It's garbage that wants to sell you things and make you feel insecure so that you will buy those things. Every single one of the tests I've seen would have every woman convinced that their man is cheating on them or that they are horrible at having sex and unable to satisfy their man. Story 43. Makeup and fitness. Girls, it's simple. Don't eat too much junk food, stay active, and apply some lotion. You'll be surprised by the number of men who would be very happy to date or marry a natural-looking woman with a bit of softness and decent skin. You don't have to look like a model, just look like you can go for nice walks on the beach. Maybe enjoy a bike trail every now and then. Story 44. The pH level of the water in their toilet, because since it is tap water, it should be fairly neutral and not close enough to either of the two edges to be a concern. Story 45. Being natural. I think plastic surgery, excessive makeup, and coloring your hair are the most unattractive things a woman could do, especially plastic surgery. Saggy breasts or small breasts are much sexier than perfect implants. The same goes for makeup. If you feel the need to put on makeup every day and every time you go out, it's the biggest turnoff ever. The sexiest thing a woman can do is embrace her body and face as it is. Trust me, it's much more beautiful than anything fake ever could be.